While it is difficult to think of Somalia in any other way other than a war-torn country and a failed state, those who lived there before 1991 remember with nostalgia a different country. It was far from perfect, but it had the systems of governance in place and things were working.
We had one of the best educational systems, basic health care, primary health care. It was free. Education was free from primary to all the way to masters. We didn't have PhDs. You could walk into any hospital, have any problems, and be attended to various doctors and nurses and community health workers. The economy was booming.
So to watch it degenerate into civil war and anarchy has been a sad and painful experience for most Somalis, many of whom have had to seek refuge in other countries. Adam Matan had just returned to Somalia, his country of birth, from the United Kingdom, where he had lived for over 10 years now.
This is my capital city. This is my home. This is what I used to call home.
Matan felt he should return and help the thousands of his countrymen facing a humanitarian crisis as famine ravages southern Somalia.
I believe the young generation, the young Somali generation that live in the diaspora and also inside the country can lead the way to the peaceful country and a stable country in the near future, inshallah.
This is the optimism that may just be needed to transform the country, which fell in 1991 when President Siad Barre was overthrown. The rival clans that kicked Barre out failed to agree on a replacement, plunging the country into anarchy. This situation led to the rise of local warlords and dangerous militia groups such as the Mujahideen youth movement, the world known as Al-Shabaab. Piecemeal efforts have been made to end the perennial conflict that had flared up over the last 21 years, but little has been achieved.
So it's unfortunate that after 7 years of that establishment, that actually we're still in a transitional period. The expectation when we were in Kenya was that the period will be 5 years, so that within those 5 years they will have formed credible elections, which then will have gotten a new constitution.
Analysts, however, say the international community has allowed the state of disorder to persist since the country lacks resources they might be interested in. It is only now that piracy and terrorism threatens foreign interests that the world is trying to help Somalia.
They have dealt decisively with the situation in Congo and the situation in Burundi, the situation in Chad, the situation in southern Sudan. Why is it that 21 years after the collapse of the central government in Somalia, that the international community has not dealt decisively with this problem? It's just that there is no desire to deal with this matter.
There is agreement, however, that political reconciliation processes is necessary to stabilize the country and should be representative of all clans.
I think it's time for us to sit down under the big traditional acacia tree and resolve the Somali conflict our way. By focusing on why did we fight in the first place?
Because if you don't empower a fragile administration, then it cannot have an absolute control over the territory. It's natural.
Breakaway regions in Somalia such as Somaliland, Puntland and Jubaland have now established themselves and restored some form of normalcy in their regions. The example shows that with enough international goodwill to empower the fragile administration, there is a possibility of returning Somalia into its lost glory. Mwendwa, Kiogora, KTN, Saturday Night.